Hey there, everybody. Gen X Man back with another review of Daredevil Born Again. Or should I say Kingpin Born Again? Because that has not changed. Now, we might get a little bit of inclement weather here. I'm glad I got the yard mowing done when I did. It's opening up on us. Anyway, getting into this episode, we got a bit of a mixed bag. A very, very mixed bag. When the old lady was asking, so how was it? I was like, it was a deeply mixed bag. Now, the good stuff is, according to my notes here, we had a beautiful opening. There's flowers and breathtaking music and so on and so forth, but I wasn't real sure what the actual overall point was. It's just kind of like, okay, Bullseye's in prison. He's lamenting that. Okay, I get it, but it doesn't really go towards the the overall themes in the episode and such. It was just kind of a beautiful opening. So I was just like, all right. I really enjoyed the whole, Kingpin bringing Vanessa to see Adam and being honest with her and offering her the choice and that was amazing. And did y'all notice like as they're walking into the room there's that blood splatter on the wall from him and it almost looked I swear it almost looked like a delicate woman's hand, the outline of it. But I was very very surprised that Vanessa made the choice that she did. And that I mean her character continues to evolve into what I've started calling the queen pin because she's every bit as fascinating and interesting as and dynamic as Kingpin is, and they're building this empire together. You're the king and the queen, and both are and they've got their subjects, and they've got this support system around them. He's got his acolyte, his devotee, in Daniel, Michael Gandolfini's character that I love. I'm loving that character even more with his growth and his evolution and how he's growing into this position of power and being rewarded with more power and growing into it more. And, he's evolving, Kingpin's evolving, Vanessa's evolving. All these characters are on a heroic journey. They are changing, they're evolving, and they're becoming even more fascinating. Um, so you had all that. And then, I mean, I'm trying to do some good stuff before I get into the rant because I absolutely have some ranting going on about this. Now, let me say that the acting is superior in the show. It's just fantastic. Again, Charlie Cox, love him as Daredevil. D'Onofrio's Kingpin, Vanessa, Michael. Yeah, everybody's just doing a fantastic job. And I just, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to dive into it. Okay, everyone around Kingpin lifts him up and boosts him up, and is part of his empire, and they're part of this heroic journey. Everyone around Matt Daredevil is just there to tear him down. Like I swear, like he can't do a single thing, right or wrong, without somebody yelling at him. If he toes the line, he's got Ayala yelling at him, and you got Kirsten and Cherry yelling at him anyway, even though he hasn't done anything. And then when he finally does something, you've got everybody yelling at him. And the Ayala girl, the one girl that was in his, the one person that was in his corner, is now written off. And you're just kind of like, oh God, it's painful to watch. It's painful. Watching the interaction between Matt and Heather. Heather is obviously she drinks the Kool-Aid. She's nominally part of Fisk's empire, and she does some very impressive mental gymnastics trying to say that, when she's just like, well, Daredevil and Bullseye are the same, or Daredevil and Muse are the same thing. And Matt's like, Bullseye or Muse tried to kill you, Daredevil saved you, and she's like, I saved myself. And I was like, really? When Muse was choking the life out of you, were you saving yourself? It doesn't even make sense. Like she is completely delusional and just, you know, and she's nasty to Matt. She's always nasty to Matt. Like we had one very awkward scene in a shower, and outside of that, she is always nasty to him, always negative, always just trying to break him down and make him feel bad for being Daredevil. And allegedly, she doesn't know, and you're just kind of like, all right, whatever, whatever. And then Matt goes into work and he's got Kirsten. And I was just like, oh, Kirsten's bawling out Matt. Must be a day that ends in Y. And she tells him Bullseye wants to talk to him. And Matt asks a perfectly normal question. Why? And Kirsten gets nasty with him instantly over information she just gave him. And you're just kind of like, oh my God. And then she's like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have told you. And I'm like, legally, when somebody's requesting to be represented by a specific legal counsel, you have to inform that legal counsel. It is illegal not to. To the best of my knowledge, I'm just kind of like, oh my God, this is just. And then the whole scene with the sleazeball was just over the top. I mean, this guy, like first of all, the sleazeball acting was over the top. I was just like, man, this guy. And Matt calls him out on it, and Kirsten just throws a tantrum. And I was like, wait. I was like, at the beginning of the series, this firm was represented as being the spiritual successor to Nelson Murdoch and Page. And that they're fight for the little guy and honest and do the right thing and so on and so forth. And here's Matt's just naming off client after client after client that is sleazy, wrong, and not good and all this kind of stuff. And Kirsten's just like, just giving him a hard time about it. And I'm just like, okay, so does Kirsten exist only to give Matt a hard time? Or is she somehow deep agent for Fisk or something? I don't know, because she's just very unpleasant, very awful to have around, you know. And Matt makes the perfect comment about how they're not serving justice, they're just babysitting chaos. And I'm like, yeah, exactly. And Kirsten's just like, what's the problem with that? And you're like, oh my, whatever. Oh, that's just so. And then you have, Matt going to Josie's and Cherry balling him out. And I'm like, oh, look, Cherry's balling out Matt. Must be a day that ends in Y. You're just like, he cannot catch a break. And, and they're just now mentioning, oh, there was this, Matt thought there was a connection between Bullseye and Fisk taking out Foggy, and it was never mentioned until now. Episode 8 of 9. You're just kind of like, that would have had a little impact on, mentioning here in episode 8 and saying, oh yeah, there was an investigation and Matt didn't want to let it go. And like, well, we could have used that information before now. So, and then you have, and this perplexed me. I'm like, okay, Bullseye's. Matt's like, who hired you to take out Foggy? And Bull's like, I'll tell you, but you got to get me out of here. I'm like, first of all, Matt can't get him out of prison. That's not going to happen. He may. I'm not real sure. It might be the Hail Mary of all Hail Marys, trying to get him from Gen Pop back into his personal cell. But if Kingpin can have him move to Gen Pop, there's no reason that Kingpin can't block him from being moved back. So that's a dead end right there. So there's no hope there. And Matt's like, well, you know what? I'm assuming this was Matt's thought was I'll bash his face in, he'll get taken to the infirmary, and he'll escape. But I mean, Bullseye escaping is going to involve death. So Matt already had to be like, okay, he's going to escape. Some people are going to die, and Bullseye's going to do one of two things: either he's going to go into hiding, in which case he's not going to tell Matt anything, even though he promised. Who cares? Or he's going to go after Fisk for trying to kill him. In which case, either Bullseye dies or Bullseye's recaptured, and Matt still has nothing. There's no scenario where Matt gets the answer he needs from Bullseye. So setting him up to escape it didn't make any sense. Now that being said, watching Bullseye escape it felt like classic Frank Miller, like straight out of Frank Miller. That was kind of fun. So I'm not sure where they were going with that though, if they were going anywhere. I've been doing some research and I found out, they've changed showrunners, they've changed direction. There's been rewrites, there's been all kinds of behind the scenes nonsense. And I'm just kind of, oh, okay, it does feel extremely all over the place, even though it's well done. It's kind of a mess in some respects. And having at this late stage, having BB Urich saying like, "Oh, I was a double agent all this time," I'm like, this is way late to be selling that bill. She has been a card carrying douchebag for or for 7 episodes. And now here we're 8 of 9 saying like, surprise! She was always trying to take down Fisk. Is like, it's late. The better way to have handled that would have been having her do the BB report, and then there was a secret report about some anonymous person with an opposing viewpoint, and then you can pop that in episode 8 of 9, saying, "Oh, that was her all this time. What a twist!" Now that would have been a twist. That would have been good. They didn't do that because they didn't know what they were doing until now. But anyway, oh look, the Frenchman was a swordsman. Le gasp, surprising absolutely no one. And one minor point also was that in the beginning of the series, it was presented that the city was going to crap, the cops were corrupt, not doing anything, and also that there were no vigilantes doing anything, no one's helping. And now suddenly we got vigilantes so prevalent and so widespread that there's a task force that is disrupting them so much that you can actually measure the statistics in a study. And I'm like, I feel like that wasn't represented at all. I mean, so there should have been like, again, you can see that this was not one unified vision all the way through the season. So anyway, in conclusion, it was a high production show that was, the nuts and bolts were put together very well, the camera angles and all that kind of, the basic stuff. But at the same time, there's huge plot holes and huge problems and issues that leave you scratching your head and just being like, well, what about, and what about, and what about, and it's like, eesh. But the worst thing is that Kingpin is having this heroic journey, and he's having this arc, and he's having this excellent story surrounded by these excellent characters that are supportive and lifting him up and telling a dynamic, compelling story. And then you've got Matt on his own, everyone in his life just punching bags him, and oh, but also one more final point was that, okay, so getting back to the Bullseye thing. All right, so let's assume he was wanting Bullseye to get out and get free. Cool. And he figures out Bullseye's going to go for Fisk. Naturally, he's going to want revenge. Um, so Matt knew Bullseye was taking a I mean, he assumed, okay, there's a guy with a sniper rifle. He's going to shoot somebody. And he would assume it'd be, I mean, it'd be Fisk. Like, even though Fisk and Heather were dancing, Bullseye would have no reason to shoot Heather, and he doesn't miss. So there was no chance of Heather getting hurt. Why would Matt unleash Bullseye? Why would he then throw himself in front of Kingpin to save Kingpin? When he knew, I mean, he had to have known, unless he's functionally brain dead, that Bullseye was going to take him out. It just does not make sense. Let me know down in the comments if there's something I missed, so. But anyway, like I said, the acting's great, the nuts and bolts are great. The story definitely needed some more time in the oven, and definitely needed a more unified vision. And I mean, if it's going to be all about the Kingpin, then rename it Kingpin Born Again. Even though it's a shame. I mean, it's called Daredevil, but we've had precious little daredeviling. So, and calling it a slow burn at this point, it's just like, well, no, we got one episode left, I found out. So that it's got some stuff to do. And now that Matt's shot, what is he even gonna do? Like, assuming he lives, assuming they're not gonna kill off the main character, which I wouldn't put it past him at this point. What is he gonna do? He's gonna be laid up for months, if I mean, so I don't know. I don't know. I'm very fearful of this final episode, so we'll just see how it goes. So anyway, that's my honest take on everything. Before I go, real quick, thank you everybody who stopped by and clicked on the views. Hundreds of views. Holy crap! Blew my mind. That was amazing. That was just, thank you everybody. Thanks to everybody who subscribed, and thanks for the comments. I love engaging with y'all. Y'all have been great, and I will toddle off to do another video to hopefully keep y'all entertained. I hope you all are having a great time. Stay healthy, stay positive. Head down, keep going. Anyway, that's all I got for today. Bye now.